Around about a month ago, I set myself the challenge of buying all the kit and all the gear that any aspiring trail runner could ever need. I wanted to do this on a budget, so I kept it low and I aimed to get it all for £275. That's got to be all the kit, all the gear and the postage as well. The reason I chose this amount was because, believe it or not, that is the price of a pair of Speedland trail running shoes. Now, I personally think that is a little bit ridiculous for a trail running shoe, or any running shoe, come to think of it. We've been testing it really thoroughly over the last month, and I'll let you into a little secret. Some of the items that we've been testing, I've been really surprised how well they've performed, but there has been a few disappointments as well along the way. And in fact, one item was just pretty awful, if I'm honest. So I wonder if you can guess which items have been a disappointment. Well, let's dive into the video and let's find out. Welcome back, you lovely people. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Hope you're all having a great week full of running adventures. I'm happy to say that my training continues to be pretty consistent. I'm getting in about 3 runs a week, nothing too long, but nice steady runs, and a weekly mountain bike ride. And I actually feel like I'm getting somewhere now with my fitness. Obviously, touch wood, because I don't want to tempt fate. I definitely recommend you go along and watch that first video in the series. In that video, we go into all the gear and all the kit in a lot more detail. Over the last month, I'd say there has been quite a few highs, maybe a few lows along the way as well. So what I thought we'd do in this conclusion video is maybe get the few negative things out the way first, and then we're going to move on to all the highlights. We want Run4Adventure to be a positive place for people to come and get inspired about their running. So let's go through the not so good stuff first. Starting with the Mac in a Sack, a waterproof jacket. So when I first started this challenge, I knew that this was going to be one of the items that would be quite tricky to get hold of on a budget. I think when it comes to a good quality running waterproof jacket, you do kind of get what you pay for. So with this costing only £31, I wasn't expecting a lot. But it is sold as a waterproof tape seam jacket, so you'd expect a certain level of performance, and quite frankly, it was rubbish. I ran the jacket on a couple of dry days where the wind was blowing but there was no rain, just to test out what level of wind protection it would give me and how breathable it was. It coped with the wind pretty well, it kept the wind off of me. When it came to breathability, it was a bit like running in a plastic bag, if I'm honest. Even though we got back vents and we got ventilation under the arms, I got hot pretty much straight away, and all I ended up doing was taking the jacket off before I internally combusted. So unfortunately, it is a thumbs down for how breathable the jacket is. The next big test for the jacket came in some pretty shocking weather conditions. So we had driving rain, really heavy winds, and I think some more expensive waterproof jackets would have been really pushed when it came to performance in weather conditions like that. But I was literally soaked through in 10 minutes. I mean, it gave zero protection from the rain. The wind was blowing, so I kept trying to get the hood up to give me a bit more protection. It kept blowing off my head, it just wouldn't stay on there. Even though it's got an adjustable hood, the adjustment isn't great. The only way I could get it to stay on my head is by pulling it right down over my face, and then I couldn't actually see where I was running.
Wow! You probably can't hear either. Anyone who says we don't test out the products of Run4Adventure thoroughly, you'd definitely be wrong. The weather's horrendous. Oh my god. Right, 3 miles to go, and then we're back into the safe, warm sanctuary of home. Let's get these miles done. Woo!
We made it back in one piece, just under 10 miles. Some of the harshest conditions I've ever run in, and I think even more expensive waterproof running jackets would have struggled in those conditions. But the conclusion is I am absolutely soaked to the bone. No protection at all, completely gone through the jacket, through the seams, and I'm starting to get really cold. So let's get back in the warm of the flat and let's finish off this video. You can see the weather was pretty brutal out there, but by the end of the run, like I said, I was soaked through and I was very, very cold. And if I'd been in a long race in the middle of nowhere, or even worse, halfway up a mountain, the only option would have been to try and seek shelter somewhere, because this jacket really didn't offer me any protection from the elements. So I think this test highlights that we really do need to invest in certain items of kit, and I think a good quality running waterproof jacket is one of those items. Don't get me wrong, if you're running 5K a couple of times a week and you're after a jacket that's going to give you a bit of wind protection and maybe protect you from the odd light shower, then I think the Mac in a Sack would probably be up to that job. But if you're looking for a waterproof jacket for your long training runs, say 3 or 4 hours, or you want it to form part of your mandatory race kit for ultra marathons, then I definitely wouldn't recommend buying one of these. I think it would be a real big mistake, especially if you came into difficulties. I'm sure a lot of you that watched that first video probably know what's coming next, and it is the Soil Shaker 2 trail running shoe. Now this shoe is made by Higher State, and for those of you that aren't aware, Higher State is basically sportshoes.com's own budget brand. So the trail running shoe cost me the pricely sum of only $39.99, and that was brand new. So if I'm honest, again, this is one of the items I really wasn't expecting a lot of performance out of, but you know, you've got to give everything a fair chance. Before we dive into how it's been running in the shoe, I just thought I'd read you a quick paragraph from the sportshoes.com website describing the Soil Shakers. So, perfect for fell running and mountain running. With its tough ripstop upper, it'll have you tearing through the mud. I think it's pretty weird that they've used the words ripstop and tearing in the same sentence, but never mind. So it'll have you tearing through the mud with ease, whilst giving you maximum cushioning and ventilation. The Soil Shaker 2 will have you running with efficiency and agility. You know, I mean, come on, sports shoes. It's so easy to write a lot of waffle on a website, but it's a lot harder to develop a good fitting, top performing trail running shoe, because, you know, that takes time, money, effort, lots of development. And I don't think there's been any of that put into the Soil Shaker. It's just a generic trainer, you know, there hasn't been any development in it. And, you know, don't get me wrong, maybe I am being a bit harsh. And if there was no other running shoes on the planet, then I could probably get away with running in this. But, you know, the fit isn't great. The lockdown in the heel is terrible. I kept lifting and slipping in the shoe. Yes, you've got this big chunky lug on the outsole, which runs in thick mud okay, but on anything else it's not great. Wet rock, it is super dangerous. It's like running on ice. And then you've got the non-existent midsole. I mean, there's nothing there, no cushioning. You feel everything through that outsole. It definitely doesn't give you any energy return, that's for sure. And then in true generic shoe style, we've got no substance to that midfoot. You know, all generic shoes are like this, which makes it very flexible, but it gives you 0 levels of support. And I personally think 100 miles in this and it would probably fall to pieces. So I really think it's a false economy as well. I definitely think the running shoe is another item of kit that we need to invest a bit of money in. And I don't mean 150, 200, 250 pounds, just a bit more maybe than $39.99. I would always buy a running shoe from a established technical running brand that's years and years of practice making running shoes. Lots of money ploughed into development, because they're always going to perform better than a generic shoe. You can shop around, get last year's models, last year's colorway, pick them up a lot cheaper, because that's always going to be a better option than buying a pair of these. Right, I'm glad to say that is all the negative stuff out the way. And funnily enough, when I got all this gear together, it was the waterproof jacket and the trail running shoes that I really wasn't convinced about. I am happy to say that the Higher State brand has kind of redeemed themselves when it comes to the apparel that we've been testing. I suppose it's a lot easier to make running kit than technical running shoes. So first up, we got this nice sort of fluorescent yellow beanie hat, really, really comfortable. I've been wearing that a lot. We also got their running gloves. Kept my hands warm. They've got touchscreen fingertips that actually work as well. I would say they do size up quite small, so the medium was a little bit smaller than me, and I tend to always run in a medium glove, so I'd go up half a size. We had their running tights, again performed really well. Nice fabrics, nice and soft against the skin. We got zips down the lower leg and a little zip pocket on the back. And their running socks for £2 a pair. I mean, very soft, very comfortable, wash well, just a nice sock to run in. So for the price point of all those items, you really couldn't go wrong. We also tested out a pair of the Higher State Trail twin shorts. They fitted really well. I love the fact that you've got lots of storage compartments in that nice, wide, comfortable waistband, but you also get a zip secure pocket on the back. The only thing I would say, the zip is quite a cheap zip. It is a bit snaggy, so it gets stuck quite a lot of the time. But the fabric's nice and lightweight. They felt pretty breathable. The one thing I would say is obviously being a sort of budget short, it's not the most technical of fabric, especially that internal liner. Not fully convinced I would want to wear them, you know, without a good quality running brief underneath, because I might be worried about a bit of chafing, I think, over distance. But all in all, for £16, you know, they really did do the job. Moving on to the seamless tees that we tested from Higher State as well, and I've got to be honest, these are two of my standout items. When I got them, I couldn't believe how soft the fabrics are, nice and fitted but not overly tight. Obviously at the price point, the fabric's not super technical, so I think they would perform better in the slightly colder months. And I'm not sure why they're called seamless tees, because there's actually seams all over them. But when you think the short sleeve comes in at only $6.99 and the long sleeve at $9.99, and they have been really nice to run in, I don't think you can go wrong for that kind of money. So I would definitely recommend, if you're on a tight budget, you're looking for short sleeve tees or long sleeve tees to run in, then you definitely have to check out the Higher State seamless tops. What I've done is I've left links in the description for all the items in today's video, so please feel free, go along and check them out in a bit more detail. Next up, and we're moving on to some of the Harrier kit that we've been testing. Now, if you're not familiar with the Harrier brand, they are a small British startup company that specialises in making quality but affordable trail running products. Over the last couple of years, they have built up a very loyal following, that's for sure, and we've actually tested out quite a lot of items from the Harrier brand over the years, and we've always been impressed. Because we were on a really tight budget, we ended up going for one of Harrier's beginners bundles. So this is what Harrier have become quite well known for, and where they differ from some of the other running brands out there, you can get big savings, up to 15%, if you buy their products in a bundle form. So that's exactly what we did, and we got one of their new Kinder 10-litre race vests. We also got two of their 500ml soft flasks. We got a collapsible cup and a tube scarf, as well as a really good quality survival bag with an emergency whistle, and a really handy size sort of runner's first aid kit. So kind of all the items any runner would need to head out and start running on the trails. Believe it or not, the bundles start at only £95, and you know, I've been impressed with all the Harrier kit that we've ever tested at the channel. Really well thought out, really good quality, really affordable. I think it's great that the bundle comes with a well-stocked, compact runner's first aid kit, everything in there that you could possibly need if you get into difficulties out on the trails, and that you get an emergency bivvy bag and not one of them sort of survival blankets. You know, they're great when you cross the finishing line at London and you want to keep warm for 5 minutes, but they're not going to do you a lot of good anywhere else. Whereas a survival bag, if you're out in the trails, away from civilization, if you're running in the mountains, you twist your ankle, you can actually climb in this. It's going to keep you warm, and it could possibly save your life. I think the new Kinder 10-litre looks pretty cool in the new black and red colorway. It's been very comfortable to run in, and I think all the subtle updates made to version 2 have just made an already very good value running vest even better. So as I thought, no disappointments when it comes to any of the Harrier trail running kit. I've actually done a full in-depth review on the Kinder 10-litre vest on the channel, so if you're thinking about purchasing one, that video is definitely worth checking out. But yeah, just like I thought, really good value, great quality, and well thought through trail running kit. Rounding up with the last item, and we've saved this till the end because this has probably been the biggest surprise out of all the kit that I've tested while doing this experiment. Over the years, I've run with lots of running head torches. Some have been really good and some have been very disappointing. And I knew that this was going to be another item that was going to be tricky to find, especially if we wanted it bright enough to run on the trails and a good battery life. So the criteria I set myself was 300 lumens minimum, because that's kind of as low as I want to go when I'm moving at speed on the trails. And I wanted the head torch to be fully rechargeable, because a running head torch in today's world that isn't rechargeable is frankly a little bit ridiculous, but it's also not very cost effective. I think the head torch is one of the items that probably took me the longest to find. So after hours and hours and hours of Googling stuff, searching the internet, I stumbled across this Planet X head torch. Now, some of you might be familiar with the Planet X brand because they make bikes, so road bikes, mountain bikes, and I've actually had one of their road bikes. One of my first carbon frame road bikes was a Planet X, and it was a really good bike, and they make quality items. So we thought, let's go for it, let's get the Planet X head torch, but I didn't even know they made head torches, so I didn't know what to expect. Now, it does look pretty basic, but it did cost me only $9.99, and for that sort of money, I really did think it was going to be terrible, but how wrong could I be? So for the bargain price of a penny under £10, you get a fully rechargeable head torch. It's got a 300 lumen max output. It's pretty light, weighs in at only 80 grams, and it's got 4 modes. So you've got full power, then you've got low setting at 100 lumens, you've got a red light feature and a flashing red light feature. All them functions are controlled by a single push on a top button, so super simple to use. We've got a fully elasticated adjustable head strap, and it comes with a really nice sort of solid clicking adjustment on the bezel on the lamp. So pretty much everything you could possibly need in your first running head torch. When it arrived, I stuck it on charge overnight so that it was fully charged for the next day. Now, first impressions were really good, but if I took it out on a short run and that battery died on me straight away, then it's not going to make a particularly good running headlamp. That definitely wasn't the case. I actually got nearly 4 hours of burn time out of one charge, and I only had it set on the max mode 300 lumens, and that 300 lumens, nice and bright, no issues out there, moving at speed on the trails. So a pretty impressive performance out of such a budget unit, and I've actually had headlamps that have cost me 5 times the amount of this one that haven't given me that kind of burn time. So I would say the only negative to the lamp, because it's a budget head torch, is it's a sealed unit. So once that rechargeable battery has run out, you can't replace it with AAA batteries. You just need to put it on charge again. But I really think that if you are looking for your first running head torch, or you want to carry a smaller backup head torch, then I would definitely recommend checking out the Planet X headlamp, because at $9.99 it is amazingly good value. So there you have it, the conclusion to our budget trail running kit experiment here at Run4Adventure. I've got to be honest, it kind of panned out how I thought it would, apart from the running head torch, that is. I think it's really highlighted that, you know, we do need to invest a bit of money into certain kit items just so that we get something that's fit for purpose. It's going to actually do the job that it's designed for, but also we're going to get good life out of it, so it's not a false economy. It's going to hold up to all that sort of training and racing wear and tear. It's been really good fun putting these videos together, and you know, if we hadn't done this little experiment, then I wouldn't have discovered the little gems like the high estate sleeveless tees and that brilliant Planet X head torch. But it's always good to hear from you guys as well. So is there a budget running brand you'd like us to take a look at, to test and review on the channel? Or are there running brands that you've been really impressed with over the years that didn't cost you a fortune? Well, if there is, get in the comments below and let us know all about it. Don't forget, you can also follow us on our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. And you can also support the channel through our Patreon page for as little as £2 a month. This opens up a world of Run4Adventure perks, but it's also a massive help to the channel now we've gone full time. We've also just launched a new multi-wrap design in our very limited edition Believe and Achieve range. The first design sold out super quick, so these won't be around long, guys. We're really excited about it because we've collaborated with an amazing artist and a guy who's followed and supported the channel for years, John Brown. I really love his artwork, so I reached out to him and he jumped on board. A very unique design, we call it the mountain runner, it's all hand drawn. So every mountain, every cloud and every runner is completely different and unique within the design. And I think that makes it super cool. Every multi-wrap will come with a little bio card giving a bit of information about John the artist and his work. So like I said, they're not going to be around long. They're limited to 50 and I think we've sold half of them already. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description to our merch store where you can purchase one. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. We will see you back here very soon. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. And I only did 10K, so if I'd been in a race in the middle of nowhere, or even worse, halfway up a mountain, my throat. I've got a frog in my throat. Sorry.